Barbie. Chloe. Period I, period 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 period I, period. Got my name up in your mouth, you don't know no better. Don't forget I'm from the South, yeah, I got them headers. You watching everything I do, studying all of my moves. Wish you could do what I do. Period I, period period I, period period I, period period I, period.
Hello, litigators and opinionators. Court is now in session on a late night court session. I couldn't go to sleep without talking about this. You guys, this is a hot mess. This attorney, in my opinion, is a hot mess. Now, I don't know how attorneys operate in Idaho, especially public defenders, but when I was in law school years and years ago, when I interned at the public defender's office. And before we took any type of criminal case, we would look up the potential defendant's information in our database. We had it at our fingertips. In court, we would actually run their name through our database to see if there were any conflicts of interest. But you guys know, this attorney is trying to get her 3 minutes of fame. It seems like a lot of these individuals in this case are trying to get attention. It turns out, you guys, that this public defender represented Xana Kernodle's mother in drug cases. There was actually a drug case that this shady, messy defense attorney was representing Xana's mother in back in November, guys. She turns around, she takes this case, didn't do her due diligence to see if she had a conflict when she's supposed to check this information before she accepts a case. And then she tries to backdoor this situation and try to get rid of her old client, meaning Xana Kernodle's mother, basically withdrawing from that case so she can take on this more higher profile case so she can get attention and notoriety. I think that's just unethical. And she should be reviewed under the state bar over there because that's unethical. So Idaho murders Bryan Kohberger's attorney withdrew from representing victim's mom. Kootenai County Public Defender Ann Taylor had previously represented the mother of Xana Kernodle, one of the victim's mothers, guys. Oh my God. The defense attorney representing Idaho student murder suspect Bryan Kohberger had until recently been assigned to defend the mother of one of his alleged victims. Can you believe this? This case is so messy. Now I know Idaho's a small town, so there's going to be a large amount of conflicts. In fact, there was, which is what led to them eventually appointing Bryan Kohberger to Ann Taylor. But Ann Taylor had a duty to check for this conflict, and she failed to do that because she was trying to get clout. And now she wants to try to represent Bryan. But they should be having a hearing to review and evaluate that because this is still a conflict of interest. And I can only see this getting worse because if Bryan happens to be convicted, then he can raise an issue on appeal to say ineffective assistance of counsel, to say, you know, his attorney had a conflict of interest. She was previously representing one of the victims, so she wasn't effective in defending him. So this just raises issues on appeal. It's like, oh my God, this woman is so messy, in my opinion. I don't like that. I mean, come on, this is a basic law school 101, or basic public defender 101 class. I mean, I don't know how. I guess the Idaho Public Defender's Office is not really efficient because, like I said, when I first, started my legal practice or starting to intern at law firms, I started with the Public Defender's Office, and they had a very, very organized, wonderful program. It's like literally they bring the laptop into the courtroom and they just type in the defendant's name into a database and it will pull up all the conflicts. It's like, why doesn't other public defender offices have that? Like, I honestly think she knew and she just wanted so bad to represent Bryan so she can get her 15 minutes of fame. That's really what this is about. A lot of thirsty people, they want clout off this case. And I think that she wants the clout and the attention. It's just like, seriously, Ann, you're messy. Okay? Kootenai County Public Defender Ann Taylor previously had been assigned to represent Cara Kernodle, the mother of 20-year-old victim Xana Kernodle, prior to Kohberger's arrest on December 30th in an unrelated drugs possession case. Court records show she withdrew on January 5th, the same day as Kernodle's initial appearance, before an Idaho judge has been replaced by attorney Christopher Swartz. Swartz did not immediately respond to a request for a comment Tuesday. Taylor was appointed Kohberger's provisional defense attorney shortly after his arrest. And the fact that the timing of it too is very significant, which shows she already had prior knowledge before she accepted representation of Bryan, which in my opinion shows unethical conduct on her end as an attorney. I'm not sure what the ethical code of conduct is in Idaho. Each state is different, but if she was in my state, that would be an ethical code of violating the unethical code of conduct because she already knew she had the conflict. And the reason why we can tell that is because as soon as there was an initial appearance with Bryan in court, she immediately withdrew from Xana Kernodle's case. So she knew she had a conflict from the very beginning, which was unethical for her to accept this case. She should have never accepted it. It's like, seriously. Oh, when I see these veteran senior attorneys do stuff like this, it just literally disgusts me because I'm like, come on, man, this is basic lawyering. It's not even like a difficult issue or a novel issue that we deal with in the rules code of conduct, but this is a basic thing that you're supposed to know especially as a public defender. And I watched Cuomo's channel, which I'm going to play a little bit of it. I thought his interviewers, they did a great job. The individuals that were on his station, they did a great job. But one of the things I didn't like is they tried to excuse her behavior saying, oh, it's because the public defender's office is bogged down and they're busy. No, that's no excuse. Because like I said, I interned at a public defender's office and they had a very wonderful, efficient database that they just type in the person's name and it just runs through the system. I'm not sure why Idaho doesn't have something as simple as that. They're very small town. It shouldn't be hard for them to figure out what defendants are in their database. But the issue is she didn't even need to do that because she already knew. And you know that she already knew because of her subsequent conduct of withdrawing the very first day of the initial appearance. That tells me that she already knew she had a conflict before she accepted the case, which was unethical for her to accept this case in the first place. Because all the other public defenders recused themselves before. There were tons of other public defenders that were appointed this case before it got to Ann. And each one of them recused themselves because they had a conflict. So why did she decide to take the case? It's just shady. Taylor was appointed Kohberger's provisional defense attorney shortly after his arrest and became his official public defender at his first appearance in the Latah County Courthouse after he waived extradition in Pennsylvania and returned to Idaho. He had been arrested at his parents' house in Pennsylvania, Ponoco's Mountains, more than 6 weeks after the alleged crimes. And the police said they recovered DNA from a trash can there that was a familial matched toe to DNA found on a knife sheath left near one of the victims' bodies. So yeah, this is what's going on, guys, right now. Oh God, it's just like, are you serious? Are you serious? This is just like, she really is so thirsty. Like these attorneys, just like the other attorney, he had a previous attorney that was his public defender kind of for his initial appearance in Pennsylvania. And he was also very thirsty for clout. He was over there, he's doing all these interviews and it's like, dude, you're like violating so much code of conduct by talking about your privileged information that Bryan told you in confidence. You're not supposed to be talking about that in an interview. Like just some of these attorneys, it disappoints me to see them violating just basic rules of ethics. Come on. Sorry, guys, I'm getting a little emotional because I cherish and take my law license very seriously. It's just, I cherish the rules of conduct. I cherish following the ethical code of conduct to a T. Like I can't imagine myself intentionally violating those rules of conduct. So when I see people just being so messy like this, it just frustrates me because it takes a lot to become an attorney and we work very hard for that. And for you to risk all that for some fame and clout. It's just the desperation. It's the desperation. All right, but let me play this interview from Cuomo because I thought he had a pretty good interview. Now, I'm not going to be able to show you. Well, let's see. Hold on. Let me see if I can share the screen. I'm not going to be able to show you like the video part of it because then that's going to be all. They're going to say, oh, it's copyright, blah, blah, blah. So I'm just going to show you pictures and stuff while we play it.
You flagged this. So my understanding is that the woman, the female attorney representing the accused in the Idaho murder case, also represented the mother of one of the victims?
That's exactly right. The mother of Xana Kernodle on drug charges, clear back in November, and actually on 4 total cases over quite a span of time. So here is somebody that is representing the mother of one of.
And here's the worst part of it. She just mentioned over quite a span of time that she was representing Xana Kernodle's mother. So I find it hard to believe that she somehow didn't know that she was representing one of the victim's parents. Because just look at the timing. This woman is being shady. Oh God, seriously.
Of the deceased victims, and yet also represented from about up until the 5th of January, when she finally put in notice of this conflict and conflicted herself out, withdrawing from the case, and the case was then assigned to another attorney. This is something, Chris, in 28 years of federal law enforcement, I've never seen. When a public defender has a conflict, they do not accept the next case that is the conflicted case.
Exactly. That's why you hear how surprised and shocked the woman is because any attorney, especially a senior attorney, this woman has been an attorney for several years. She should already know this. It's like she allowed her greed and her desperation for some 15 minutes of fame to outweigh her ethical code of conduct, like her ethical duty. And then she just throws Xana's mother away like a piece of trash just because she now has Bryan. No, this is wrong in all ways. If anything, she should have withdrew from Bryan's case because Bryan was a newer appointed defendant. She should have stayed on Xana's case, Xana's mother's case.
You would never get rid of the defendant that you had been representing for a great period of time on 4 different cases to take over another case. Death penalty aside, because there were other attorneys that were able to represent Bryan.
Exactly. She's just being desperate for, the camera action and fame and saying, oh, look, I'm going to be able to represent this, one of the biggest cases we've had in Idaho, and I get to represent a death penalty case. So I'll just throw away Xana Kernodle's mother like a piece of trash after she's been representing Xana's mother for a long time. It seems like a period of time. I just find that just disgusting. Like I'm so irritated right now. Irritated. Sorry guys, you're hearing me venting right now.
Counselor Darden, do you take this case if you're the counselor involved?
You mean, do I take this case if I'm private counsel? I don't take this case if I'm the deputy public defender. I don't take it. No, I think there's a conflict. It's clear. She should not have been on the case in the first place.
How'd she get this far, you think?
Perhaps it's an oversight. Public defenders in this country are overworked and overwhelmed. She may not have realized that there was a conflict at first.
See, I don't like that he's giving her a way out, like trying to give her excuses. Oh, she didn't know she was at work. That is hogwash. That's not true. Usually public defenders, they have, like I said, they have a database where they look up and run this system, the individual's name into their database to see if there is any conflict. That's why you notice, if you've been following this case very closely, there had been reports that multiple defendants in that county, multiple public defenders in that county had to withdraw, and they could not accept Bryan's case because they already looked up his name and found that there was some form of a conflict. So why is it that she's the only one who happens to be the most senior attorney in that county, happens to not know a basic ethical code of conduct just to check to see if there's a conflict? That's like the basic thing you do before you accept an appointment. And like he's saying, they said there's not like there wasn't any other attorneys that could have represented Bryan. It's just that she has this underlying intent, in my opinion, just to get her 5 minutes of fame. It seems like a lot of people in this tragedy are very thirsty for camera action, and it's just, I find it very appalling. It's just like, come on, guys, make it make sense.
And then when she did, she withdrew from the other cases, not this one. Is that the right move, or should she have stuck, as Jennifer is suggesting, with the cases she's been on the longest and not the new one that she's barely into?
It's the new one where there's a conflict, and it's the new one that she should have conflicted off. She should not be representing him. She should continue to represent.
Exactly. Any attorney knows that. She should have withdrew from Bryan's case. So it's like, you can only be able to infer and formulate an opinion that this woman had an ulterior motive, and it wasn't based upon her ethical duty. She should have withdrew from Bryan's case. It was the initial appearance, but she knew she wanted to represent this case from selfish greed, and so she just threw away her client, who she had been representing for some time now, for at least a couple months, because it was back in November when she started representing her. So it's like, now this woman has to find a new attorney and figure things out again. Like, this is just unacceptable. It's like basic lawyering, basically.
Present the mother that she has represented, or her office has represented on 3 or 4 occasions prior. It makes no sense to conflict on those and keep this case.
Well, it makes plenty of sense in terms of profile and the amount of attention and the stakes. We hope that's not what the decision was about. But Counselor Garagos, how does this play in to defense strategy? Is this just a procedural hiccup and now he has to get a new lawyer and it's just a delay? What does it mean? What's the net effect?
Well, I think what will happen is, my guess is what will happen is that there'll be a hearing, and the hearing will be whether or not first of all, you're going to have a knowing waiver by both the mother, who was represented, and by the current client, Bryan. If there is not a knowing waiver, both of them do not waive the conflict, because presumably the mother is going to be called as a witness. In her defense, I don't know, this issue was raised today, at least, or I was told about it today, but obviously she knew about it weeks ago. If she got a waiver already from the mother said, that's fine, I understand, you got to do what you got to do because there's limited number of lawyers in Idaho who have death penalty experience, then I suppose that they've already submitted a waiver or they've got it. If they don't have a waiver, the judge and or the prosecutor is going to, I think, in an abundance of caution, are going to say, we need a hearing on this, because boy, if there is a conviction, the first thing that's going to happen is there's going to be a 2255 for IAC, ineffective assistance of counsel, and this is going to be one of the many instances of ineffective assistance, that there was a conflict that, by the way, I can also predict what they will say if there's a conviction. They're going to say, well, you represented her on a drug case. There's been rumors on the internet about this house being connected, where the murder scene was, connected to drugs and raging parties. You didn't go down that road because you were conflicted because of your previous representation, blah, blah, blah. You didn't do a cross-examination, and that's the nub of the conflict.
Hey.
Exactly. He nailed it. That's why I had to play the rest of that, guys, because he literally nailed it. There's so many different theories for why Bryan would have an appealable case if she continues to represent him. Because if the prosecution decides to call Xana Kernodle's mother up to talk about her daughter, and that is going to affect and influence Ann Taylor's ability to effectively and efficiently cross-examine Xana Kernodle's mother. Number one, she knows privy information about Xana Kernodle's mother that she could use to cross-examine and further harm this woman's character, because she knows privy information from her attorney-client privilege information. Number two, like he was saying, it's just going to deprive her from wanting to question the witness, Xana Kernodle's mother, on certain information, because again, it will go into the attorney-client privilege information, and she probably will be hesitant to talk about it because it would breach that, which would then be a violation of her ethical code of conduct. So I think number one, she should recuse herself. Also, he brought up another issue that one of the reasons why she probably took the case is because it's a small town. Again, there hasn't been a criminal like this. There hasn't been a murder in that county for 7 years. So they don't have a lot of defense attorneys that have death penalty experience. And she's probably one of the few that has the death penalty experience, which is why she decided to take the case. But I still don't think that's an excuse. There's probably other private defense attorneys, even if they have to call them from another county to represent Bryan. I feel like she just overlooked her ethical code of conduct to be selfish and just get her 15 minutes of fame. And I just find that just annoying. She just annoys me now. I can't, guys. Hi, Save Mother. She says they better watch this animal. He'll be searching for a loophole. Right. That's what I'm saying. Save Mother Earth. That's why I'm frustrated with Ann Taylor. If that's her name, y'all. I forgot her name. I'm frustrated with her because she is literally creating appealable grounds for this guy. And you know he's going to use everything to his advantage. He probably will just let her go ahead and, her name's Ann Taylor. He'll probably just go ahead and let her represent him just so he has an excuse to file an appeal. That's why she's frustrating me, because I don't really want to give this guy any reason to appeal. Although you guys already know he's going to appeal all the way up to the very end. He's going to appeal until he exhausts every opportunity to appeal. The thing is, I don't want to give him a viable appealable ground where he could have his whole trial overturned because of this messy woman who wants 5 minutes of fame. She just irritated me, guys. I hope to goodness that they will have a hearing and that Xana Kernodle's mother does not waive the conflict. Because I already know Bryan's gonna waive it because he's gonna try to make up an excuse to be like, after if he is convicted, he's gonna turn around and be like, there was an ineffective assistance of counsel. She couldn't really efficiently cross-examine Xana Kernodle's mom because she had conflicts, and so it impaired my legal defense. So it was ineffective, and therefore I should have a new trial with a new attorney. He already knows all this stuff, guys. So he's going to enjoy trying to create opportunities so that he could appeal. Oh, God, this woman is messy. And the thing is, this happened January 5th during the initial appearance. And I haven't heard of any hearings that they're supposed to have. So it looks like they just buried this situation under the rug and just going to move on about their life without discussing it. I'm frustrated, guys. Sorry. Reminder, all content is alleged or opinions and are for entertainment purposes only. And Bryan Kohberger is presumed innocent until proven guilty in the court of law. And just a reminder that no information discussed during this live is considered legal advice. All right, take care, everybody, and have a wonderful night. Thank you for being up late with me. I just had to talk about this because this really, really irritates me that she is doing this and being messy. All right, guys. Take care. I love you all. Toodaloo.